Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet were just revealed. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to reveal ahead of time the starter evolutions and what types they're going to be. Okay, now, I'm completely joking. I'm not really going to tell you what it actually will be. And I think what these guys might evolve into is actually maybe a little obvious. So let's start with the water starter, Quaxly, who these are all pure types. So grass, fire, and water. Apparently, they're not any other type. So here's what I think is going to happen with Quaxly. Quaxly, at the moment, looks like a nice little duck with a hat, pure, a good guy, a sailor, a nice, good guy. What I think is going to happen with Quaxly is I think he's going to evolve into a pirate duck, and I think he's going to... Well, I think his type is going to be water steel. What I think for Quaxly, and I think this is quite obvious because I think Quaxly is definitely going to have a weapon for sure. And I think that weapon is going to be a harpoon. So here's what I think. I think Quaxly is going to evolve into a water steel type. So since he is a steel type, I guess he's going to have to, or she, this Pokemon is going to have some kind of armor. So what I think it's going to, it's going to be all pirated out. It's going to have a pirate hat, eye patch, probably. And he's going to be a big chunky boy. He's going to have a body like a rubber duck, a big rubber duck. So he's going to be a big, and obviously not yellow, but white. And he's going to be a big chunky boy. Okay, he's going to, I don't know if you'd call him fat, but he's definitely going to be like big. And yeah, I would have said cannon, but that's Blastoise's thing. So I'm going to go with harpoon, which is also made out of metal. So, and I think that's going to be his thing, is he's going to be a big pirate duck with armor and uses a harpoon. That's what I think is going to happen. And he's going to have some cool signature move called harpoon something. Or whatever. And maybe he could even steal Delmize's move, Anchor Shot. Because I think being a pirate is going to be his whole thing. Now, I just want to say right now is I have a theory for this game's mechanic. Maybe? It's not based on anything I've seen, but it's based on like a future thing that might happen. I'm going to say that at the end, though. Now we go to Sprigotito, the grass type. I think this one is maybe kind of obvious, but maybe not. I think clearly this Pokemon looks feminine, and I think that's basically makes it an easy contender to be a fairy type. So, grass fairy, and it'll probably evolve into a saber-tooth tiger. So, Diego from Ice Age, which I guess I'm going to try to make a thumbnail for that. Green Diego. But, yeah. Now, here's the other thing. Speaking of Diego from Ice Age, here's what I also thought. Maybe it would be kind of interesting if Sprigotito was an ice type. Because, nothing more than that Ice Age thing. Saber-tooth tiger, Ice Age thing. Maybe it could be a grass ice type. But, I don't really know about that. It would give it a double weakness to fire, which is not good. So, I don't know about that. That's an alternative, which I don't think is going to happen. I think it's going to be Grass Fairy. Moving on to Foy Coco. This one is difficult. This one is quite difficult. So, here's what I think. So, he looks like an apple crocodile. I think he definitely looks like an apple. I think there was definitely a little bit of... They were unsure of what he actually looks like, but yeah, he looks like an apple with like a bite taken out, and that's the white part. Yeah, so What I think is probably a dragon type, which actually has never been done before. Now, if we're following the Chinese calendar, nobody ever said they can't do one they already did. I mean, I think we all know that that's going to happen anyway. Once they do all of them, they're probably just going to go back to some old one that they did and just do it again. It's not, yeah, because it's not like they can't do that, you know. Unless they want to start doing something new, they do something really cool and they just start like combining. That could be cool. But in any case, here's I think. Now I don't exactly remember. I think it's the ox that they haven't done, the horse, and the snake. I think those are the ones they didn't do yet. But I also want to make an argument for dragon. Since Charizard isn't a dragon type, even though I think his Mega Evolution is, I think because of that, I guess they can technically do a dragon. Since this thing is obviously seems like he's going to have some sort of dragon thing to him, perhaps what's going to happen is he will evolve into a snake. Maybe he'll evolve into like a dragon like snake type of thing. I mean, that's kind of what happened with Serperior. Snivy had legs and arms, so they can either just redo, the dragon on the calendar, or they can go for a snake. And, I guess they can make it like a hybrid. They can make it like a dragon snake and give it the dragon type, and it's still a snake, but it's like a dragon snake. Like the thing from Harry Potter, the basilisk, which I don't know if that's a dragon or not. I have no idea. But I have no idea. Now here's the last thing I want to say really quick about these is that I believe they all counter each other, if this is true. Now, there's one more thing I want to mention really quickly, and it relates to the starters. So, I'm not sure if this will be like sort of the main mechanic of this game, but I think a mechanic that I think has to show up at some point is the idea of fusing Pokemon. Now, the reason that I feel this has to happen at some point is because of Black and White, Pokemon Black and White, and where the legendaries in those games, the 3 dragons used to be one dragon that's split apart. So Reshiram, Zekrom, Kyurem used to be one Pokemon. And so I think, so when they do Black and White remakes, which I don't know when they're going to do them, but I just feel like the way, I mean, they have to show us who that Pokemon was. The all 3 dragons coming together. I mean, it's not like they're just never going to like show us who that is or never give it a name. Like, I doubt that that's happening. I think one day they'll put them all together, they'll give it a name, it'll be like a big deal, and it's probably a good idea, to, when they do Black and White remakes, have that be like the big thing, is the 3 dragons come together and now they're this one super powerful dragon, the original dragon. So, I'm not sure if his name is anywhere. I don't think it is. So, yeah. So, a mechanic where Pokemon will have to be fused, I think just has to be a thing. And what the mechanic will bring, this is going to cause controversy, but I'm going to say it anyway because I think this is a cool idea and I think it could really work. And I think it could have a lot of... I think it could be used for a lot of Pokemon. So when this Pokemon fuses, it will get 3 types. So this will be like Mega Evolution, sort of. Obviously, I read like a Reddit forum, they were talking about, what if there were 3 types? And everyone was like, oh, this would be so broken, and it would be unbelievable. It's like, fine. But they could just handle it like Mega Evolution, or like Dynamaxing, where, okay, well, maybe it lasts like 5 turns and then it ends, type of thing. So the idea is that, I don't have this all like totally figured out, but it's like, I think the idea is that it'll like reach it, there'll be maybe some kind of stone, maybe there was a version of a Pokemon that went extinct or something, and you find not really a fossil, but maybe some sort of remnant of that Pokemon. You put it in the your bracelet, because all of these things have a bracelet, like Mega Evolution, Z moves, Dynamaxing. They all have a thing you put into a bracelet. So that's gonna be what it is. So it's like a remnant of this old Pokemon. You put it in your bracelet, and then you can fuse your Pokemon, and then it gains. So here's the thing: it gains a type. So I'm going all out with this, right? It gains a type, and I didn't know this because I didn't play the Sword and Shield DLC, but apparently that goat Pokemon guy has 2 abilities. Now, why would they do that? Now, why would they do that if that wasn't going to be a thing, right? So here's what I think. 3 types, 2 abilities, and here's another one. This is going to make people really mad. Fused Pokemon will be able to use certain moves that will hit with 2 types at the same time. So very easy to think. A move like Muddy Water. That move will do water and ground type damage. And then, I can't think of all these off the top of my head, but maybe have a move like Bug Bite. Bug Bite will do bug and dark, because it's Bug Bite. Yeah, and then maybe you have some weird ones like Rock Climb, which is a normal move. Maybe you could have that do normal and rock type damage if you want. And then yeah. And maybe you can have a move like Poison Jab. Maybe you can have that's the thing, and maybe that's where it gets controversial. Anything that involves punching, jabs, anything like that, maybe you could have that be whatever element it is, and fighting. So Thunder Punch, Electric Fighting, Fire Punch, same thing, Fire Fighting. This is going to make people mad, but whatever. And yeah, the more I talk about this, the more broken it sounds. So, alright, big deal. It's then make it a thing for 5 turns, then it ends. Or less than that, or 3 turns, and then it ends. Right? Yeah, and then I think, now this ties back to the starters, if that's a thing, fusion. So the idea is that there's an old version of these Pokemon that went extinct, but they found a remnant, and if they put this remnant in the bracelet, that Pokemon will gain a type from their ancestor, and it'll be able to use it. It'll gain, an old ability from the ancestor, and just as a part of fused Pokemon, it'll be able to use moves that hit with 2 types. Now that's optional. They don't have to do that. But I just feel like if they're already doing all this crazy shit, might as well just do that too, right? And then maybe they could balance it out by only fused Pokemon can only be terrible Pokemon. They can do that if they want. It could be fucking Beedrill, It could be fused Beedrill. It doesn't have to be Garchomp, who would really work, by the way. Yeah, there are a few Pokemon who I think this would really work for. But, that's a different discussion. For the starters, what I think it is I think all of these 3 could get an extra type, perhaps, if they decide to bring in this fusion mechanic where you gain an extra type. So obviously for Quaxly, I think it could gain the flying type, although I just feel like that's too easy. I feel like that's just too easy. I maybe would prefer a different type. I don't know what type, but I think I would just prefer a different type. I mean, maybe the fact that it's a bird, maybe it would just gain the normal type, which is boring, but yeah, it is what it is, Giving it the normal type would make it immune to Ghost, so it's better than nothing, So I don't know. I mean, they could give it the flying type if they want, but I just feel like that really isn't a good type to add because, you know, doesn't that make him weak to rock and electric? I just feel like, I don't know. I just feel like that's giving him more weaknesses than he should have. So maybe just giving him the normal type. I don't know. Maybe that would be better. I think that would probably be better, but I don't know. That would give him a double weakness to fighting, though. Oh well. Deal with it. Oh well. And then Foy Coco for Fire Dragon. You could give him anything. It could be dark. It could be rock. It could be ground. I have no idea. The fact that he has teeth makes me think, okay, he could, obviously, he's going to learn bite and crunch and all these biting moves anyway, like Thunder Fang and Fire Fang probably. So he could be a dark type if you want. And if he was a dark type, he would get completely destroyed by Fairy. By hitting Dark and Dragon. So, and then you go to Sprigotito, like I said. I'm not totally sure about that one. It could be a poison type. Although I think that would really contradict the fairy thing. The fact that it's fairy. Can you be a fairy and a poison type? That might already exist, but I don't know. I feel like it's contradictory. It's kind of like we have that demon Pokemon, who I totally forget the name, Grimmsnarl, who's dark and fairy. I feel like that shouldn't be a thing, but it is. I just feel like those two are like complete opposite things, but yeah, I guess it can be a thing, an evil fairy. I thought that maybe that couldn't be a thing, but it is. So if there can be an evil fairy, I guess there could be a poisonous fairy, even though it obviously makes no sense, but maybe they could do it just cause. Maybe they just don't want to limit themselves and be like, we can't do that. Can't do that type combination. I mean, they can do it if they want to. And maybe it already exists, but I can't think of one. Yeah, and then like I said earlier, maybe it could be an ice type. Just being, that Ice Age connection. I really have no other thing than that. That maybe it's just an ice type for that ice connection. Maybe its saber teeth could be like icicles. They could do that if they want, but I feel pretty good about the Grass and Fairy. I don't know what other type you'd give it. I mean, an easy one would be Psychic. That could be an easy addition. That's all I wanted to say. So I talked about a few things here, predicted the types that these guys are going to be. I talked about the fusion mechanic. Alright, anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. Tell me what you think, and I'll probably make more videos about this because I have more to say. Anyway, see you next time. Keep on fighting. Have a good day.